My fiancé's phone lit up while he was in the shower. A message from a contact named Don't Answer. It read, "She's at work. You can come over now." I called the number back. A woman answered and said my name before I could speak. It was a humid Wednesday evening in our apartment in Makati. I had just returned from a long day at work, the Manila traffic as unforgiving as ever. My fiancé, Carlos, was in the shower, and I was in the kitchen preparing dinner. The aroma of adobo filled the air, and I was humming along to a tune playing softly on the radio. As I set the table, Carlos's phone, resting on the counter, lit up with a message notification. Out of habit, my eyes glanced at the screen. The message preview read, "She's at work. You can come over now." The sender? A contact named Don't Answer. My heart sank. A wave of nausea washed over me. I felt a mix of confusion, anger, and betrayal. I picked up the phone, my hands trembling, and without thinking, I called the number. The phone rang once, twice, and then a woman answered, her voice calm and composed. Before I could say anything, she said, "Hello, your name?" I was stunned. How did she know my name? I managed to ask, "Who is this?" She sighed, "I think we need to talk. Can we meet?" We agreed to meet at a nearby cafe in Bonifacio, Global City. As I walked in, I spotted her immediately. She was elegant, with a poised demeanor. She introduced herself as Isabella. Isabella explained that she and Carlos had been seeing each other for months. She had no idea he was engaged until recently. She showed me messages, photos, even receipts of hotel bookings. The evidence was undeniable. I felt a mix of emotions. Anger at Carlos, sadness for the life I thought we were building, and a strange camaraderie with Isabella. We were both victims of his deceit. Back home, I confronted Carlos. He denied everything at first, but when I presented the evidence, he broke down. He begged for forgiveness, claiming it was a mistake. I needed time to think. I reached out to Isabella, and together, we devised a plan. We decided to expose Carlos's infidelity in a way that would make him regret his actions. Carlos was a respected manager at a multinational company in Ortigas. He often boasted about his reputation and the trust his colleagues placed in him. We decided to hit him where it hurt the most. Isabella and I compiled all the evidence, messages, photos, and testimonies. We sent an anonymous package to his company's HR department. Within days, Carlos was called in for a meeting. The fallout was swift. Carlos was suspended pending investigation. His reputation was tarnished, and whispers spread among his colleagues. He tried to reach out to me, but I ignored his calls. It's been a year since that fateful day. I've moved on, focusing on my career and personal growth. Isabella and I remain friends, bonded by our shared experience. Carlos? Last I heard, he resigned from his job and moved to a different city. I hope he learned from his mistakes. As for me, I've learned to trust my instincts and value my worth. Sometimes, betrayal can lead to empowerment. I thought I was done with Carlos after everything. I thought burning the bridge was enough. I was wrong. About 2 months after he left the city, strange things started happening. Small at first. My emails were being marked as read when I hadn't opened them. My Netflix account kept showing continue watching shows I'd never seen. Then my car was keyed while parked outside my condo. Not once, 3 times. I reported it, of course. The guards said they didn't catch anything on the CCTV. I didn't think too much of it. Just figured maybe someone had a grudge in the building. Then one night, I came home from work, opened my apartment door, and all my lights were already on. I froze. I live alone. I always turn everything off when I leave. I stepped inside slowly, calling out, "Hello?" Nothing. The room looked untouched. I checked the bedroom. My underwear drawer was open. I never leave it open. My stomach dropped. I backed out of the room, locked myself in the bathroom, and called the police. They didn't find anyone inside. But they confirmed the door had been picked. Nothing stolen, just moved. A toothbrush in a different cup. My lotion cap twisted halfway. A window unlocked. The officer looked me straight in the eye and asked, "Do you have anyone who might want to scare you?" Carlos. That was the first name that came to mind. I didn't have proof, but my gut said it was him. I tried calling Isabella. Her number was disconnected. That was weird. We talked almost weekly before. I messaged her on Instagram. No reply. I emailed her, bounce back. She was just gone. The next day, I went to her workplace. She worked at a gallery in Mandaluyong. They told me she quit without notice 3 weeks ago. No forwarding address. She had vanished. I started digging. I called a friend who worked in telecom. Asked her to trace the number that had sent the original, "She's at work. You can come over now." She hesitated but agreed. Off the record. A week later, she called me and said, "That number isn't from Manila. It's a Devo registration. But get this, it was set up using your name." That hit me hard. My name. My ID. I rushed to check my credit accounts. Someone had tried to open a new line of credit using my identity. I called the bank. They had voice recordings. I asked them to send the audio. I listened to it 3 times, my hands shaking. It was Isabella's voice. Not only was she in on it, she was never just the other woman. She was in it with Carlos from the beginning. It was all a setup, and I had walked right into it. I couldn't believe it. The woman who sat across from me in that cafe, who cried and showed me screenshots and receipts, who said she was betrayed just like me. She was part of it. Maybe even from the start. My mind kept playing every moment over and over, trying to catch signs I missed. I went back to the messages she showed me. I had screenshots saved. I looked closer. The dates were odd. One of the hotel bookings was from a date I know Carlos and I were on vacation together in Palawan. We had selfies. Time-stamped. I hadn't noticed before because I was too emotional. So now I had two people working together, trying to play me. But why? I started going through Carlos's old things. He'd left a few boxes in the storage unit downstairs that I'd ignored. I figured he'd come back for them eventually. I didn't want to touch them before, but now I had to. I opened the largest one and found a stack of old notebooks, some clothes, a couple of USB drives, and one beat-up laptop. The laptop was dead. I took it to a tech friend, asked him to check what he could recover. A week later, he called me. He told me I needed to see it myself. When I got there, he pulled up a folder called camlogs. Inside were hundreds of video files. My blood ran cold. They were all from hidden cameras. Dated from nearly a year before I ever found the message on his phone. Different places. Hotel rooms. My apartment. Some showed Carlos. Some showed me, getting dressed, brushing my teeth, crying while watching Netflix. I felt like I couldn't breathe. That's when I noticed something else. Some of the clips weren't of either of us. They were of other women. Some of them looked scared. Some of them were with Carlos. Some with other men. Some with Isabella. He was running some kind of operation. Maybe blackmail. Maybe worse. And I had been sleeping next to him, planning a future. I wanted to throw up. I went to the police again. This time, I showed them everything. The videos. The credit fraud. The voice recordings. They opened a case immediately. I gave them everything I had. The officers were quiet the entire time, but I could see it in their faces. This wasn't small. They told me to stay somewhere else for now, just to be safe. I moved in with a friend in Quezon City. Changed all my passwords. Put a hold on my credit. I felt like I was living in someone else's life. Then, a week later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo. It was me sleeping in my friend's guest room. Someone had taken it from the hallway. Written on the back were 3 words. You were warned. After getting the photo of myself sleeping, I felt something snap inside me. Fear turned into rage. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. I kept checking locks 3 times. I started carrying a taser in my bag. I stopped trusting anyone who looked at me too long. I was unraveling, and I knew it. The police promised they were working on it. They said they traced Isabella to a condo rental in Pasig. They had started piecing things together. Carlos and Isabella had used fake names, moved money through shell accounts, maybe even filmed people for blackmail. The scale of it was worse than I thought. Still, no arrests. No real action. Just silence. Until one night, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer. I just listened to the voicemail afterward. Come to the rooftop. You deserve answers. I froze. It was Isabella's voice. The number was local. I took a cab back to my old condo building. Hard hammering. I climbed the stairs instead of taking the elevator. Every step echoed like a countdown. When I reached the top, the door to the rooftop was propped open with a brick. I stepped through slowly. And there she was. Isabella. She looked different. Older. Tired. Her eyes were red. She was standing near the edge, looking out over the city like she didn't even hear me come in. Why? I asked. My voice cracked, and I hated that. She turned around slowly, tears already in her eyes. You were never supposed to find out. That wasn't good enough. What was the plan, huh? Trick me, ruin my life, then what? She looked down. Carlos was never just your fiancé. He was a scam artist. We were partners. But it wasn't just about money. He was obsessed with control. He picked you because you were the one who had everything together. Good job. Smart. Stable. He wanted to see if he could break you. My stomach turned. Why would you help him? She wiped her face, mascara smearing. Because I loved him. And he promised me a life. Then he turned on me, too. He started filming me, threatening me. Said if I ever left, he'd ruin me. So I ran. I didn't know what to say. I should have hated her. Maybe I did. But I also saw fear in her face. Real fear. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Carlos. He walked out onto the rooftop like it was a normal night. Hair slicked back. Calm. Cold. Now this is a reunion, he said, smiling. Get away from me, I said. My voice was stronger this time. But he kept walking. I told you both to leave it alone. That's when Isabella stepped between us. No. You don't get to scare us anymore. He laughed. Scare you? Please. You were both nothing. You let me in. You let me do it. He turned to me. You would have married me. You were so easy. I slapped him. Hard. And I don't regret it. Carlos staggered back, shocked. But it wasn't over. From the stairwell, officers emerged. Guns drawn. They had been recording everything. Isabella had tipped them off. That voicemail was bait. The confession was real. Carlos tried to run, but they tackled him to the ground and cuffed him. He was screaming the whole time. You don't know who I am. You'll regret this. This isn't over. But it was. The fallout was intense. Carlos was charged with multiple crimes, fraud, identity theft, illegal surveillance. The video evidence was enough to lock him up for a long time. Turns out, I wasn't the only woman he targeted. I wasn't even the first. But I was the one who finally said enough. Isabella testified. She entered a witness protection program. I never saw her again. I went back to therapy, tried to rebuild my life. It was slow. Some days I felt strong. Other days I sat in the shower, just trying to feel clean again. My friends were supportive. My mom flew in and stayed with me for weeks. People at work whispered, but didn't pry. A few even told me they admired how I handled it. But inside, I was still broken. It's been almost a year since the rooftop. I've moved to a new city, new job, new locks on the doors. I don't date yet. I'm not ready, but I go out. I smile again. Sometimes I laugh. Trust doesn't come easy anymore, but I'm learning. If there's one thing I took from all this, it's that people aren't always who they say they are. Love can lie, charm can deceive, but gut feelings? They don't lie. So I listen to mine now. Every time.